Thank you very much, Benjamin. Yeah, it's me again. Been here before lunch. So this is about another task. So it's GameStory 2018, because we hope that it will be next year, GameStory 2019. This year is the first year, and I'm Matthias Lux from Klagenfurt University. So who are the other guys? Michael Riegler, he's also in the medico task. He is from Oslo. Duc-Tien, Dang-Nguyen. He is currently at DCU, as far as I remember. Yes. He's also a dedicated enthusiast gamer. Then Marcus Larson, he's not a dedicated and enthusiast gamer, but he's our industry contact to Snipe TV. So he's the one with the videos. Martin Potthast, I met him at Clay. He's in text retrieval mostly, but he's also a very dedicated gamer. And when I pitched the idea to him, he said, yeah, we need to do that. We just had to discuss where, and we voted heavily for MediaEval instead of Clay. And Paul Halvorsen, who is kind of the little bit of the conscience behind at least two tasks. So he doesn't step out to the front very often, but believe me, he's here with us. Okay, so why? I'm actually very much interested into games, not only from a personal side, I don't have too much time to play, but also from this popularity side. So game streaming has already taken over TV. In 2013, 32 million people watched the grand finals broadcast of League of Legends World Championship. League of Legends Riot Games has been bought by Tencent, Chinese company. In 2016, 162 million viewers accessed eSports streams frequently. So it's 162 million people that frequently watched eSports online. That's pretty lot, because that's also taking away not only eSports, it's only focusing on eSports, so it's taking away game streaming, like Let's Play on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's even more than that. And in 2018, this guy, Tyler Ninja Blevins, was the first person to reach 10 million subscribers with a single game streaming channel. So that's not easily achievable in Austria, because we don't even have 10 million inhabitants. And he actually managed to mobilize more than 10 million people to subscribe to his stream. It's a fun story about Ninja Blevins. I mean, if you haven't seen him, take a look at his stream. It starts in our European evening. And you will see why he has so many people watching him. He's an entertainer. He's not the best gamer ever, but he's a really, really good entertainer, and he comes along very original.
Is this on Twitch?
That's on Twitch. That's just on Twitch.
10 million subscribers?
Yes.
Not followers. Subscribers.
Subscribers. Follows?
People that followed and watched. Subscribing, they have to pay and
You see, that's the insiders here. We can we can easily.
10 million people to pay. 10 million people, 10 million children watching you, not subscribing.
Not children. I'm watching him too.
We should make him extremely wealthy. He has enough subscribers. Maybe 10 million children stole their parents' credit card. That's YouTube, by the way.
That's YouTube. Where's Twitch? Here's Twitch. No. Now you got me. It did work on my mobile phone. That's followers. Okay, that solves it. So it's even so popular that there are specific websites where I can look up this stuff. So he has 11.8 million followers right now, and cumulative video views in the 352 million range. So that's pretty much for a non-professional. I mean, now he is professional. He earns a lot of money with that. He's directly sponsored by Red Bull, and as you know, Red Bull, an Austrian company, just funds the really crazy sports people like jumpsuit, base jump, and those that can die, and this guy, which obviously can't die, but at least not in this sport. Recent publications showed that esports make up 9 to 17% of Twitch viewerships in 2018 with the end of Q3. And just because that you know, Fortnite viewership dips in Q3, so Fortnite is not here to stay with us forever. So we can wait it out. Currently, everybody watches Fortnite and plays Fortnite, and Tyler Ninja Blevins actually has made a lot of subscribers or followers with Fortnite. Video game, if you don't know, from Epic Games, which is also bought by Tencent, I think, with a 40% share. So basically, if you add Tencent at every other company, Tencent is currently mostly owning the game market. We went for CounterStrike Global Offensive. So what's CounterStrike Global Offensive? It's a competitive first-person shooter game. It has a very long history on competitive games and a very well-organized league, or several leagues in several countries. Why did we choose CounterStrike? There were not that many options. So we contacted the people from Bitmovin. That's a company in Klagenfurt. A colleague of mine did a spin-off with his PhD students, and they went pretty successful. So all the videos that are streamed over Twitter, for instance, are running through Bitmovin scripts, so they're big. And they have contacts everywhere. And Snipe is one of their customers. And they made contact. And Snipe said, yeah, of course. What do you want to have? Counter-Strike or Dota? And I said, no, please not Dota. And that's why we ended up with Counter-Strike. Why Counter-Strike and not Dota? Because it's a well-known fact that the Dota community is a little bit more toxic than the Counter-Strike community. So there's a lot of hate speech and people yell at each other. And we didn't want to analyze that, but we wanted to focus on the sports. Counter-Strike started in 2000, several iterations. Basically, it stayed the same. There are several tweaks, and they changed the base of it, but basically it stayed the same. Terrorists play against counter-terrorists. You typically place or defuse bombs, and you rescue hostages and such things. So it's a military simulation, not a simulation like in Battlefield, but a simulation in like eSports. It has very, very strict rules. Also, the non-written rules, who plays which role in which team. You have to obey that rules, otherwise you're out of the team. People have to rely on you. There is not much room of interpretation. There is not much freedom, like, oh, no, I'm rushing in. Tell the others goodbye, and then you head in with your submachine gun. That's basically not allowed. You would lose the match. Everything has to be down to the team. Players do not respawn in between rounds, so you play 5 against 5. If one of them is killed within this round, the avatar will respawn in the next round. And you have to outfit the avatars with the money you generated over time. I mean, how do you generate in a first-person shooter money? By killing other people or planting bombs. And with that money, you have the economy running, and there are differences in between rounds, because sometimes you don't score too much money, then you have to save money, and so on. So it's a constant up and down. But team play is basically key. So if one player has a lot of money, one player doesn't have any money, then typically the player with the money buys a gun for the one that hasn't. So you have to play in a team. So GameStory at MediaEval. Multimedia always tries to do research in relevant area. That's absolutely clear. That's a statement of multimedia, ACM Multimedia. And the only difference with GameStory is we deem game streaming as extremely relevant. So that's what we said on top, and that's why we came up with GameStory. It reaches more people than traditional TV already. And we think that GameStory is one of the first approaches of the multimedia research community to provide an evaluation challenge in this area. Fortunately enough, we have already been positively reinforced by Kaggle. Kaggle just put up a challenge on PUBG. So they have a challenge on gaming data too, but it's not multimedia. So what they have is they want to predict the outcome of a match based on the behavior of the players using the server logs. We don't have access to server logs of PUBG, but they have, obviously. Okay, so that's the original interface. You have 3 video screens. In the strategic overview, there are possible with 4 and versus, but you can mix and match 12 video streams. So there are 5 players. There's the map overview where you just see people running around the map like here. And there is the commentator stream, and you can mix and match and see what people are watching. Let's not take a look at the match because there's not much time. So what do we have? We'll see a match then. I didn't want to show it twice. 2 teams playing with 5 players each. That results in 10 video streams. We have then the map stream, which is a bigger version of the map that every player sees. And we have the commentator view, if there is one. In ESL, There is one, and it's very well cut. So there's a director who cuts the stream live. There are 2 commentators in our case, which talk about the game and do stuff. It's cut like a live sports event. It's pretty convincing, actually. It includes audience, players, and game footage. So that's what we have. Don't look at the title. It was for another presentation, but I didn't want to do it twice. So that's the 12 videos. If we just play them along, yeah. So there's not really much to see in this case. And there is actually a problem. You've seen the grenade went off at different times, the smoke grenade, so the streams are not really synchronized. Okay, if we go for an interesting part, which is, for instance, a kill streak, that is when one player kills off the avatars of multiple others, and that's a 3-person kill streak. Let's see if I can get, oh, I turned the volume off here. Yeah, I can hear it. No, I can't hear it. There's basically not much to see. A very interesting part is that in the broadcasting you can see through the walls a little bit. So you can see people hiding behind the walls. The original player stream doesn't include the people hiding behind the walls, otherwise hiding behind the walls wouldn't make too much sense. So that's what we got from this stream, and compared to that we have the commentator stream. Now I'll forgive me on that. I'll change the output because the audio is really interesting.
Ready and waiting. The smokes go in. Flashbangs deploy. Can Lecro find anything? You better believe he can. Takes down Rain 4 and 4.
Kerrigan's taken a massive amount of damage as well, I believe, from an 8 thrown in, but it's flush and it could slide up. You said he needed another big one. He's got another big one. 17-17.
They pull it back. Lecro holds his nerve and that.
Okay, so basically you can see the difference. Just a view of the player doesn't give you so much emotion, and the commentator does it really well. It's like scoring a very important goal. In this case, they're on a tie. They're already in overtime. They're on a time 70-17, and the match can go either way. Commentator stream is great, but it goes for the whole event, and the event lasts more than an hour. So that's basically the challenge. Expected outcome would be to summarize the game, to be entertaining, because the best short video is nothing worth if people just die along watching 3 minutes of very boring video. It doesn't help, so it had to be entertaining. It should provide, and that was pretty ambitious, it should provide the flow and the peak of a good story, because every match in CounterStrike Go actually develops and peaks out at some point. And this peak should be captured and it should be built up. And it should provide an innovative way to present a summary of a CounterStrike Global Offensive match. That was the main idea. There are particular challenges, but I think we can skip over them right now. Just for the evaluation, 30 seconds. That was all the runs that were submitted, and the evaluation basically asked the jury questions, like submissions give a good summary, match at hand, and so on, and then the judges rated it. That was the basic idea of the evaluation. The lower the better, so 1 is strongly agree, 5 is strongly disagree, and strongly agree always goes to the positive side, so all those questions are biased towards the positive side. So the outlook for this task, the final words, we're not there yet, so it's not really easy. All the submissions basically show that, all the reviews we got back show that. Even with AI or deep learning, it's quite a hard problem. So there are many sub-problems on many different media channels, and they have to be tackled all at once. On the other hand, video games are really cheap. So we can actually have recordings from a lot of video games. There are a lot of high school soccer matches that are interesting for a bunch of people, but nobody records them. For video games, there are a lot of interested people, there are a lot of games, there are a lot of recordings. So we have a lot of data, and that's good actually for research. On the bad side, CounterStrike Go is just one game out of many. So there are so many games. If I say CounterStrike Go, we'll immediately find people that say that's crap, let's play whatever. Pony Farm Management or whatever. And each of them has different semantics. So Counter-Strike Go has very strict rules. That's pretty cool. But what about Minecraft? What do we read about Minecraft? So that's really hard because we don't have these clearly set goals. We don't go into overtime in Minecraft and things like that. So that's harder. We want to do the task again, and just for my ad, there's a fully funded position in Klagenfurt that is relevant to the task. So this person could help me organize the task next year. So approach me if you want to do a PhD in games, social media, and distributed systems. It's fully funded, all the 40 hours, which is pretty cool in Austria because you typically only get funded 30 hours and then invest the 10 of your life. And that's it, basically. So come to Klagenfurt with a nice picture, but of course tries to rival Nice, so it's only a try. Thank you very much.